Okay, Denny, here's the 3-column Chinese basalt grouping I told you about. This one has some character to it, a little bit of motion in the lines. A lot of times this stuff is pencil straight, but these pieces have a little bit of curvature and I think look real nice together. That tallest column is 6 feet tall. Second one is just over 5, and the other one is about 4 feet. I'll get in close so you can see some detail. Now I've got one of the 2 groupings sold to Penn State University. The architect never came and looked at them. It's really up to me which ones I offer, which grouping I present. So what I'm saying that for is because I'll give you a selection. You can choose between this group and the other one I'm going to show you across the room here. Now, I told you about this hole that's 1.5 inches in diameter. And we can put an LED. Actually, that's not 1.5 inches. I would have to core that out, but to get this LED in there. But we can get an LED down in there, about 2.5 inches or so, and the water will come up as high as you want it to. We can just put a ball valve on it and open or close it, give you as much flow as you want. Now, the more flow, the more splash, and you might want to consider how much splash you want, and we'll size the basin accordingly. But the price includes the basin that I told you, the 300-gallon basin from Tractor Supply. So that's one grouping. While I got you here, I'll just show you another grouping. This is going to be going to Texas. I'm trying to remember the name of the town. It's near Dallas. That's a 17-column grouping. It is possible by using a lot of this material to have something that really shows up and has a dominating kind of a presence if you use enough of it. Individually, the columns are a lot smaller, but I think this is going to be pretty impressive when you think of water flowing out each one of these columns and the sound that that's going to make. Just as an idea, Denny, because the only fountain that I think the only fountain you've seen of this material is on a smaller scale, but something like that can be done. Okay, so here's the other Chinese basalt grouping that you could choose. These are straighter. The girth of these is more similar, each one to the other. They're more straight up and down. There's a little bit more variety in terms of the pattern on the rocks themselves. That red you see there is going to come off. That's just paint that was somehow bumped off on it, and that's going to power wash right off. That's not part of the rock. But the blues and the tans and the gray, that's all part of the rock. But again, this red here, it must have bumped up against another package or something in the shipping here. So that'll come off. I'll stand back and give you a bigger view of this. That's one grouping. And here's the other. I tend to think this one has a little bit more style. Now the tops of those, in order for water to go uniformly around all of them, I may need to cut and polish a little bit on the top. For instance, this one here, the water's not going to get over the back of this. So if you want it to be uniformly wet all over, I would have to cut and polish part of this here so that the water can get over and around the back. All right, let me know what you think, Denny. I've got 2 groupings and one of them sold, so I only really have one available. You can choose either one you want if you do it soon. But you know, I only have one grouping that's not sold, and your choice of the 2.